What's happening, guys? Week 3, starts of the week episode. Doing it a little differently now. I'm breaking it up. Last week, I put it all in the previews and everything, and it's just, that's a lot. System overload. So, I'm gonna break it up. I'm doing the starts of the week today. I'll preview tonight's game, the Miami at Buffalo game, and then tomorrow, Friday, I will be doing a whole week 3 preview, every game. Okay, touch on some key players and what I think is going to happen, yada, yada, yada. But before I get into this with the starts of the week, please do me a huge favor. Show some love to the channel. Hit the like and subscribe button. Add comments. Like I said, you have trade advice, or you need trade advice, waiver wire, pickup advice, start, sit advice. We're into week 3. We've had a lot of injuries. I'm here to help. I got you. Let's go win some championships this year. I'm here to help. That's what I'm doing this for. So, hit the right, send some comments, whatever you want to do. I got you. Week 3 starts, guys. So, I am starting at the QB position, and I am going with a name that I don't anticipate saying very often in my lifetime as a recommendation as a start of the week, but I'm going with Caleb Williams. And it kind of just comes down to simple math. Vegas has this game, Chicago at home to Dallas, as the second highest over-under on the whole slate at 50.5, and they have Dallas only winning by 1. So that means Vegas is predicting Chicago at home against that shaky Dallas defense without a Micah Parsons, but it's not just them, it's their secondary. Dallas at home last week let Russell Wilson turn back the clocks and throw up 450 yards in an overtime thriller. Now it's in Chicago. Chicago, even though they got embarrassed last week at Detroit, they still put up over 20 points. These guys can score. They're not really getting much done with the running game with DeAndre Swift. He's very inefficient. I think Rome Odunze, who in back-to-back games, he's had, I think week 1 he had like 22, and last week he went crazy with 33, 34 PPR points. He's going to be crazy good in this game, but so is another player who I thought about making as a start of the week at wide receiver, but he's definitely right there. I think DJ Moore has a monster week this week and finally gets going in this game. You look at last week, Malik Neighbors, 41 PPR points, but Wan'Dale Robinson went crazy as well. I think he had 25 or 30. I think both DJ Moore and Rome Odunze go crazy, and I think Dallas puts up a ton of points on the other side with their two guys in Lamb and Pickens. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think it smashes the over, and I think Caleb Williams has a monster. I think Dak does too, but I think Caleb Williams, who's definitely ranked lower and hasn't really gotten it going yet, I think he has a monster game, and don't be surprised if Chicago pulls off the win here. Moving on to the next position, running back. Now, I'm not just saying this name because I love this player and I talk about him almost in every video, it feels like, but look at the situation. I'm going with my start of the week at running back at Jordan Mason. At home to, who are they playing? They're at home to Cincinnati, okay? Both teams need to win. It's the Carson Wentz and Jake Browning show. Who would have thought that coming into week 3? But things happen, and here we are. Aaron Jones is on the IR. J.J. McCarthy out for 4 weeks. Carson Wentz hasn't started in quite a while. They're gonna play conservative ball. Mason, he'll grind it out. I think he has a monster game. I really do. To me, what does that mean, monster game? I think Jordan Mason, while Aaron Jones is out, is a locked-in top 10 RB, if not higher. So love Jordan Mason in this game. I had a little honorable mention. I think Kenneth Walker. Sorry, New Orleans. I hate to pick on you, but man, every game it's like you want to, I thought about making Sam Darnold my start of the week, but no, I think Kenneth Walker with a banged up Zach Charbonnet. I think Walker, who, knock on wood, is actually healthy right now, which is why he, to me, if he goes off, he is a sell high candidate just because of the health issues. But yeah, anyways, I think I'm going to go with Jordan Mason at running back. My wide receiver, I love me some Zay Flowers this week. at home in the highest over-under on the whole slate, Monday night at home to Detroit. Now, two things. One, with Detroit's defense, okay, we all know they had two completely opposite games. Week 1, they got embarrassed at Green Bay. Week 2, they came back and they blew out Chicago. One consistency that they did have in both of those games is that defense stopped the run. Remember, in the Green Bay game, they were boxing up Josh Jacobs until they it was week 1, until they got tired at the very end. But even that, they held Jacobs to 14 PPR fantasy points. Their run defense, look, Derrick Henry, Cleveland bottled up Derrick Henry last week, and yet in both of Baltimore's first 2 games, Lamar went off, okay? Even when Derrick Henry went off in week 1, Lamar went crazy. I think that Detroit, their offensive line last week was a night and day difference. And again, they weren't prepared. I'm not giving them any excuses, but they weren't prepared for the best defense in football, what it looks like in Green Bay, and that unbelievable pass rush. Washington wasn't either the next week. That team is legit. So for them, for that offensive line that was shaky in that week 1, they were night and day difference in week 2. Baltimore's defense, other than Kyle Hamilton in the back at safety, their defense hasn't been very good. They gave up 41 in week 1 to Buffalo, and then they even gave up, I don't even remember how many, did Cleveland score 20 in that game? But either way, I think my whole point of that is Detroit, it's not going to be a blowout. Detroit's going to put up some numbers. They have Baltimore minus 4.5 over under 52.5, okay? I think that Detroit's secondary outside of Brian Branch, it's shaky. They have a great run defense though. So over the middle stuff though, and this is something that's kind of hurt Detroit for years. They get beat with tight ends, and over the middle stuff, their linebacker core isn't the best. So I think we're in for a huge Zay Flowers day. I think he's gonna go nuts in this game. So that's my wide receiver start of the week. And then I'm going to go for tight end, I'm going to go with Juwan Johnson for the Saints. He's built a pretty strong connection with Spencer Rattler these last 2 games. Both games, he had over 15 points in both games. They're at Seattle. Seattle's going to put up points. Rattler loves him some Juwan Johnson, and he's going to have to throw the ball. And so I just think Juwan Johnson, who's a nice player to recommend as well, because you probably just picked him up off of waivers this week, hopefully yesterday, and you can absolutely start him. Somebody's got to catch the ball in that New Orleans game at Seattle, and I think Juwan Johnson is going to have another nice 15-plus tight end PPR day. So those are my starts of the week. Caleb Williams at QB, Jordan Mason at running back, Zay Flowers wide receiver, and some Juwan Johnson at tight end. Defense and kicker is tough. If you want a defense, let's see. Someone that's probably on waivers, or Minnesota's defense could give Browning some fits. We just saw what Jacksonville's defense did last week. And even though they won the game, Browning threw 3 picks. Now it's in Minnesota. Minnesota has a much better defense than Jacksonville does. Minnesota at home in a bounce back type of game. I think Minnesota could give Browning some fits in that game. I like them as a streaming defense. And then kicker, go with a guy in a dome. Let's pick one here. Let's go with some. We'll go with, we're going to go with Tampa Bay's kicker. I know it's not in the dome, but it's outside in Florida. Tampa Bay are dealing with some injuries, but Justin Fields is out in that game on the other side with the Jets. I think they take it easy. McLaughlin's got a leg. I think he could go off in that game. All right. Now, for my preview for tonight's game, Buffalo at home to Miami. Now, I know it's easy. Everybody, and including myself, I mean, come on. There's a 99% chance that this game is done by halftime. And what does that mean fantasy-wise? Well, it can mean a lot of things, but I think I have to pick something, right? And what I think is going to happen is I think Josh Allen and James Cook, they eat in the beginning of the game, put up a score. I think you're going to see some scores off on Buffalo's defense because it's going to be, that crowd is going to be nuts. Miami's going to struggle in that game. And then second half, when Buffalo's got a nice lead on them, look for Ray Davis. Last week when they were blowing out the Jets, Ray Davis came in to give Cook a breather, and now it's a short week. He came in last week and got 9 touches. I think Ray Davis, and this is especially interesting if you play like DraftKings where you do the captain modes and the captain showdown and all that, play Ray Davis as your captain tonight. Don't go and spend a ton of money on Josh Allen because Buffalo could score a bunch of points without Allen. We just saw it last week against the Jets. Allen had, 10, 11 points, and they blew out the Jets. And this could be a similar situation. And I like Ray Davis in that second half of the game. You're on a short week. Buffalo's hoping that they can just breeze through this one and rest their starters and, move forward on their way to being the 2025 NFL season's first 3-0 team. That's what I'm predicting to happen. Now, Thursday games are crazy. And a lot of times on a short week, and it's not even just Thursdays, but we do get some crazy, weird Thursday games. But a lot of times what happens is sometimes teams that are such a heavy favorite, they play down to the opposition. And it just happens. Baltimore does that a lot. They did it a lot last season. Probably not. I know they knocked me out of a Survivor League pool for big money. But sometimes that happens where they think, oh, we can just breeze through this, and then they slip up. It's a divisional opponent. It's really hard to recommend anybody on Miami because I don't foresee that happening. I think Buffalo are a pretty darn good team and should ease through this, no problem. But you never know. On Miami's side of the ball, it depends on what your roster is. It's tough to bench Tyreek Hill. It just is. Even though I would never want to recommend Tua in this game, it's just tough to bench Tyreek Hill, who got going last week. He had almost 19 points. But anybody else, I don't know. And you're like, what about Achane? Yeah, he could be okay, but I hope you don't have to start Achane. It's tough to recommend any Dolphins. That team is just, man, what a brutal game for Miami. Had Buffalo 2-0, look like freaking gangbusters right now. But anyways, I think that's my biggest thing. I'm not in on outside of Buffalo's James Cook, Josh Allen, and Ray Davis in the second half. Not really in love with any of the pass catchers on Buffalo because I don't think Miami's going to make it competitive enough for them to, be significant in this one. You could see a Dawson Knox anytime touchdown tonight. And I know I'm talking cash, but I'm trying to cover everything. But yeah, I like me some Ray Davis as the captain tonight. That way you can save some money and spread it out. But yeah, so again, guys, tomorrow, be ready. I'll try to get it done early. I'm going to be doing a whole week preview of all the rest of the games, all 15 other games. But yeah, so starts of the week. Hope that helped you out. Love you guys. Take care.